that brings for the Florida offense, or to the Florida offense, and what you guys might have to do to get ready for him and what he brings?
Austin's a big kid. I mean, I know that. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. I recruited him to Vanderbilt, actually. And, we ended up going in a different direction. And my brother coached him for 2 years at Purdue, so I've known Austin for a long time. Big, strong kid. He's played in big games before. He knows what to do. He's a big guy who can run the ball well. He throws the ball well. We're very aware of him. We watched some Purdue film. We watched, the snaps that he's played, obviously this year in the spring game and things like that. So, he was in a competition for the starting job throughout spring ball and camp. So he's not. We have a tremendous amount of respect for Austin.
Mom, as a unit, what are they doing well so far through 3 games?
Winning. They run the ball well. They convert third downs. They've obviously got great depth at the running back position. They got a big offensive line. They got receivers that are very explosive. Callaway and Powell are really good players. They got some depth there. So it's gonna, they're the most athletic team that we've played to date, and we're very excited, to go out there Saturday.
You didn't play against him at Penn State.
I've never played against Austin, no.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about the run fits as well. Do you think you've gotten better with each game in terms of your run fits?
Each game presented different problems. I mean, App State was the triple option, so that was kind of challenging. We misfit a couple runs that led to big plays. We had the one big play against Virginia Tech that was a misfit. Last week, they presented some unique challenges. I thought, obviously they had a good running back and a running quarterback. But, we achieved our goal last week. We held them to 88 yards rushing on 30 carries. But that's nothing like what we'll see this week. That offensive line's good. They run off tackle plays very well, what we call power plays. They run zone plays well. And, we're not naive enough not to think that they have a couple wrinkles up their sleeve, whether it's some quarterback run stuff with Appleby or Felipe Franks or, or some Wildcat, different things like that.
Bob, you guys were already without Darren, then you lose Cam. Has there been any woe is me from your defensive guys, or are they eager to go out there and prove that they've got depth? And
I think I said to you yesterday, to me, the narrative sort of Sunday might have been, hey, Tennessee hangs on for win over Ohio. To me, it was one of the greatest wins I've ever been a part of. For the guys to rally around one another. I think I told Justin Martin to go in at halftime and put his pads on when he had been kind of declared out with an injury, and Mike Abernathy on the sideline begging to go in on special teams, saying he could play corner if we need him. The little things like that I think are really cool stories that if you're writing a book, those are a pretty high chapter in the book. And, just guys really stepped up. I told you Colton Jumper would step up and play well, and he did a fine job.
Coach Will they change their offense because of Austin's mobility, though, possibly, do you think?
I think there's a chance of that. He's a good runner. He's big. He's strong. Again, we've watched some Purdue film on him. We've gotten a little bit of scouting report from people we know on him. And, we know his strengths and his weaknesses, and that's the chess match there, trying to identify how Coach McElwain will use that individual's strengths, and Coach Nussmeier.
You mentioned kind of getting some scouting reports on him. I'm assuming you've talked to your brother who coached him at Purdue.
I can't remember if we did.
Coach Conco really seemed like he showed up more on Saturday than he has. Is he just getting more and more comfortable out there?
Yeah, Jonathan's. I think that's what it is. I said, he's just he was a ways away. I think when he signed on, I think expectations were really high, and here's a guy who's only played football for a few years, and he's still learning the game. I obviously think his best is ahead of him, and we've got a nice, almost like we were talking about the Florida running back situation. I'm sure all those guys want to carry the ball every snap. Well, I said it before, who am I going to take out of the game? Am I going to take Barnett out of the game? He's going to look at me like I'm cross-eyed. Vereen, he doesn't want to come out of the game, and all he does is make plays. So we got to find ways to get Kongbo, Mixon, Phillips, Lewis in the game and get them their reps. And it's a nice problem to have, so you can keep guys fresh, for come the fourth quarter of a big game like this, a key third down, a 2-minute drill, things like that. You can have your best players in the game.
You alluded to this losing streak to Florida. Has there been much talk about that other than from the media? Has there been any talk in the team?
Today's Wednesday, yesterday was Tuesday, it was Monday. No, I think everybody's aware of it. You can't help but be aware of it because you can't turn on the SEC network or whatever. But to me, a lot of these guys haven't even played against them but 1 or 2 times. And they've been really good games, and it's a nice rivalry, and we're very, very excited about it. But to us, it's a great game because it's our first SEC game. It's going to be the 3:30 CBS game. I think our players are really, really, really excited about playing Florida on Saturday.
Even though you didn't play against Purdue while you were at Penn State, did you see much film of him just kind of Purdue
No,
versus
no.
so-and-so, or no?
Because keep in mind, when you're a defensive coach, you're watching the other team's offense. So, I mean, we did cross with Purdue a lot of times, but if I was doing that, we were playing someone else, so I was watching Purdue's defense. But I know Austin, and I know who he is, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I mean, he's like the analogy is the NFL veteran quarterback, who signs as a free agent and competes for the starting job. I mean, that's what he is. I mean, this was the best option for him, and he's going to be ready to go. He's excited.
But there haven't been more conversations with your brother than usual this week or anything like that?
You just asked me that.
More.
I talk to my brother all the time anyway, so the quarterback situation in Florida may have come up.
Bob, I was able to hit some deep shots on you guys in Florida. It looks like in the first 3 games they want to go deep. What do you have to do to correct those and make sure that they don't go over your head?
Yeah, do better. Our objective each game is 3 or less big plays per game, and we've actually accomplished that through the first 3 games. I mean, App State had 2 runs of 15 or more, and they had a wheel route on Vereen. Against Virginia Tech, they had the long run, and they had a quarterback scramble, and they threw the weird ball where they threw the fullback down the middle of the field. And then this past week, we did a good job in the run piece, but not as good in the pass piece. And all of them were really kind of the same play, max protection, throwing it deep. We've got to do a better job. I call it taking the speed off the routes, rerouting guys, and our safeties need to play them a little bit better. Both TK and Micah were a little out of position on a couple of those, and hopefully we've made that correction. And we went over that Monday and threw some of those same type of passes yesterday against them, and we were in much better position.